I've gone to this banquet, to this awards meeting for a number of years. And one of the things that I always do is look through the names, the list of names, and realize how many of those people I've actually known, that I've seen come ahead of me, that I've tried to use as examples, that I've tried to learn from. And honestly, to have my name included on that list is a pretty tremendous thing. Well, my initial reaction was one of complete surprise. I think I might have done a Three Stooges thing where you look behind you to see who they're talking to. So I was really surprised, but very pleased. I've had so many different people, shape my career and influence me. I think honestly, one of the first people was a young man by the name of Benji Albanese. We moved from Montreal to Brockton, Massachusetts, and one of the things I discovered was that there was a continuous baseball game going on in the street. We lived on a dead-end street, and at the end of it, Benji had chalk marked a strike zone. And we played with broom handles and baseballs when we could get them, which wasn't always the case. Occasionally we took turns taking them home and sewing them back up. Most of the time we used these hard black rubber balls that really hurt when you got hit by them. But the games would start as soon as someone could get outside, and they would end usually well after dark. And it would be played with 2 people or 20, it didn't really matter. But he actually taught me what the game was. Then I took that home to my dad, who was a very fine athlete in high school and in college, had played both baseball and basketball, and he took a real interest in this also. I remember him coming home from work and taking off his suit jacket and rolling up his white shirt sleeves, tucking in his tie, and throwing baseballs with me or hitting me grounders, and later on pitching to me until we got called into the house. He was a great example for me, and as it turns out, my first coach, and I learned a tremendous amount from him that I don't really think I understood until much later on. I know that Coach Wayne Hunt from Comstock, when I first came there, a huge factor in my career, offered me a chance to coach. Still a lot of times now that in a situation, one of my thoughts is, what would Coach Hunt do in this situation? We were playing a game, and it was early spring, but it seemed like a hot summer day, and because of that, bugs of all kinds were coming to life for the first time. And I was in the third base coaching box and noticed that there were bees flying around me during the whole game. And I'm trying to ignore them, but they often were coming pretty close. In the last inning, we were down by a run, and my 3, 4, 5 hitters were coming up. And as my 3 hitters stepped into the box, one particular bee flew directly into my face. I swatted at it, and it landed on my shirt. And I began swiping at it furiously to get it off. That happened to be our bunt sign at the time, 3 swipes down the shirt. So I got the bee off, but when I looked to see what was going on, here's my number 3 hitter squared around in the box to lay down a bunt. Good player, doing what his coach had told him to. I don't think he'd ever bunted in his life, and it really probably wasn't a situation where I should have called on him to do that, but he laid down a really nice bunt. Third baseman ran in, fielded the ball, threw it into right field, and he ended up on third base. The first thing he said to me was, "Great call, Coach." And at that point, I figured I probably couldn't tell him what had actually happened. My next batter stepped in and on the first pitch hit a double, so we had scored the game. My next batter stepped in, hit a double. We won the game, and it was over. So I learned from that incident that bunting is pretty important, and that probably we should bunt more. A couple summers ago, I had the chance to coach the Michigan High School All-Star team at Comerica. And that was a phenomenal thing to be able to hang out in the dressing room and in the coach's office down there. We had a 90-minute rain delay, which could have been really a really bad time, but it gave all of us, the players and the coaches, a chance to wander around and see what goes on underneath the stands and in the cages and things like that. I had a group of players who came to watch the game. My whole family was able to make it. It was just really kind of a highlight of my career. I think it's important if you're a new coach to surround yourself with good people, people who know more than you do, which is not always a comfortable situation, but I think that's how we learn. You know, no matter how long you've played, no matter how long you've coached, you don't know everything, and you need to keep learning. You need to go to clinics, you need to read books, watch tapes, and keep talking and listening to other people, especially watching other coaches to see what they do and how their teams operate, taking what you can from them to make yourself better. Again, I'm so grateful to the Board of Governors for this award. This is a truly wonderful thing to have happened for me, and I'm really proud to have my name mentioned with so many great people that have come through the Wolverine Conference.